Okay, hello everybody. I'd like to welcome you all today, my participants and also our listeners, to this FCG Voices talk. And we're talking about designer collaborations and also about building bridges when it's possible between cultures, both stylistically and geographically. For me, I'm Melissa Drier. I'm the former German correspondent of Women's Wear Daily in Berlin, and earlier I was the fashion editor of DNR in New York. After 43 years of fashion journalism, I am now primarily a gardener in the woods of Brandenburg. Our guest today, Waridi Schrobsdorff, founder of FA or Fashion Africa 254. Waridi was born in Kenya, and after sojourns in Dubai, London, and New York, she touched down in Berlin in 1993. Since 2008, she's been acting as a bridge between African creatives in the German and European markets. And in 2013, she founded FA254, which focuses on brand collaborations and e-commerce activities. Today, we have part one of our dynamic duo of Odeeh. Jörg Ehrlich and not visible is Otto Drögsler, who is always visible, however, in the Odeeh creations. And both veterans of the German and international fashion scene, they founded their highly original women's wear brand, Odeeh, in 2008. Jörg and Otto also took on the additional role of creative directors of Meissen Porcelain in 2018. And though this is not a collaboration, it's definitely a prime example of creative cross-fertilization. And talking to us from Marrakesh, we have Artsi, who founded his Maison ARTC there 4.5 years ago, but says he has been a designer much longer. Born in Israel, Artsi also has a 20-year career as a dancer behind him, and he can be found pursuing any number of other interests besides creating his collections of one-of-a-kind pieces made of vintage materials and worn by men and women alike. So today's topic is collaborations. I mean, I'd say the fashion and apparel world has been in collaboration frenzy for almost 2 decades. I mean, basically since Karl Lagerfeld and H&M got it together in 2004. Not that there haven't been collaborations before, there certainly have. I mean, just think of Elsa Schiaparelli and Salvador Dali in the 1930s and their wonderful lobster dress. And athlete active sportswear link-ups have had a long history, and that's even before Adidas and Stan Smith in the 60s or Nike and Michael Jordan in the 80s. But what I wanted to ask you, or whoever feels like answering, why do you think collaborations have become so widespread, so common now? Are they just a marketing ploy, or brands' needs for more fashion input, or design cachet, or designers' needs for wider exposure, tapping into new consumer groups, all of the above? I mean, do you feel overwhelmed by the amount of collaborations that we hear about on a regular basis?
I would like to say that from my side, I think it's a power game, and I also think that it doesn't give respect to the designer, but more respect to the brand. And I think it's abusing the designer by taking his talent and put it in a place that actually not really belong, because most of the collaboration today are made by brands and not necessarily with designers. So in the end of the day, what we are seeing is a product that try to be very quick, sellable for the moment that it exists, and after that they are moving to the next collaboration. So I think what I feel that it's a bit of abusing. So I'm not sure that it has to do any more with fashion, it has to do more with product. I don't think that we are seeing any more fashion as we know. I think we are seeing more branding, as we would like to put ourselves and to decide, okay, this is my financial statue, or this is my, it's nothing to do about that anymore. So I think I'm a bit overwhelmed by the lack of education that we give into the future people.
Jörg, what do you think?
It depends from which point of view you look on this issue. I was just, as you mentioned it, we were working for Meissen Porcelain in the last years, and I personally we made the experience there that you can learn from each other. I mean, we went, and this I like about this idea of cooperating and of having a dialogue with companies that may not be in my primary talent field. It opens a bit the amount of possibilities. When I talk about this Meissen experience, we were entering into a field that was totally new for us. Porcelain is not our market, and for them it is and was a very surprising act of coming together with two fashion guys. And also for them, it opened several doors and possibilities and perspectives. So I wouldn't say it's using our talent or our creativity. It's of course it's kind of a special marketing tool. Everybody's looking for new solutions nowadays. We all have to find new ways to communicate and to sell our product. But in the end of the day, I like it, and I also like. I mean, we are doing a lot of cooperations in the moment, and with art in the arts field, we are working with artists. We Meissen, as I mentioned, we did a cooperation with a sustainable eyewear company, and I think it opens up the field of possibilities. In the end of the day, I'm very. In general, I'm very positive. In the moment when it's misused and when it's only be done for marketing tools, I think it can get difficult and misused. But the point is, like in every field, you should do something that you really believe in, and if that's the fact, I think it can be positive.
I was thinking that sometimes I think that a successful collaboration, it's like dating, it's like actually finding somebody after the dating, and we've had a lot that where the people just don't match up. Now, Waridi, what do you think from your point of view, trying to bring Africa and Europe or Germany together?
Well, basically, with FA254, we've been using the collaboration idea really from the time we began in 2013, bringing 15 designers at Lodenfrei. Of course, as you mentioned, there is marketing part for the other side. And for me, it's always interesting to find, okay, if they're gaining the marketing part, what part is interesting for me with the designers I'm bringing in. So beside bringing visibility, also it brings up curiosity and start to bring the communicate. For me, it's also that communication, voicing the different designers who are there, who they are, where they're coming from, also bringing Africa into, especially the German market have never really been open to other, like Africa, and like Italy or France. So I thought how to use this collaboration to start changing the mind, to open to see the existence of the brands and designers who are existing in Africa. And this is answering that also what Jörg said. And when we did a collaboration with eBay Fashion in 2014-15, at that time it was about rebranding. eBay used it for rebranding themselves because nobody knew about eBay Fashion. It was just like on their, like for 2 years they started. And for me was, how do I put the designers, my part or our part with FA254 was more to make that we get the designers' skills to be upscaled, to be educated, and also the stories that are being taken by eBay is also making them learn a lot about Africa or the heritage or the culture of the designers who were involved. And like also Jörg said, is there was a lot of learning between the two platforms, from the African designers and eBay Fashion. And it was also quite, eBay people were quite excited to learn more from Africa than me learning from them. So it was really very vibrant, and it gave a lot of, and also was important, not just about marketing, also the designers get to be sold on their platform. So there's also an execution of the designers to gain not only designing something for eBay fashion, but also that they get funds to also continue their business. And so I think with collaboration, also the words, we need a new word, like many words of what collaboration could be for us now to continue. And it's not about marketing, it's more about exchanging stories, exchanging what the culture is about, what the people are about of Africa and German. And this is where I mainly believe about to voice out, change the minds, and the collaboration is about, for me, changing the minds between the both.
So do you think there needs to be a new framework in a way for collaborations? I mean, right now they're usually product drops with an X.
Yeah, but the question is, I need to clear something, because when we talk about collaboration with ceramic, for example, or with art, it's definitely have a value, and this is actually a valuable collaboration. I was not talking about that because I don't see that collaboration happen that often. I actually see more collaboration that happen with big brands, and then eventually it's a product, because of course there is a money to make, and there is a force that push you to be more commercial than be creative. So we have, for me, I always question the collaboration. What's the value for the customer to buy it? Because we are working very hard to make the money. And then for me, to buy clothes, it's an investment. Most of the clothes today that we are invest, they are not valuable for the future. They are just valuable for the moment you wear them. I'm questioning if we combine a collaboration that have a value, that from the minute you buy it, like you buy art, because why people buy art? People buy art because it increases value in the years. In fashion, it's not the case anymore. It's decreased the value, which means we are standing on trends and not standing on something that is timeless. So if the collaboration is valuable enough that you say today you buy this piece and it will increase its value during the year, then I think it's worth the money of the client. What I'm questioning is what is the value of a collaboration and where I'm going to put my money, and if I'm going to actually buy something that's valuable for the future, or something that actually I will ask myself, like everybody asks in the quarantine time, what the hell I bought and for what actually I needed it. Because this was the biggest question in quarantine for people who buy fashion. They find themselves in their houses with all the clothes they buy because nobody actually pay attention what he is buying. And then he say, okay, it's not valuable anymore.
But that's a general question, Artsi, what we should produce for the future and what we should be responsible for in a certain way. I mean, and this is a general question. I mean, what we are probably should more talk about is on a maybe more higher level or more exclusive level or more special level. Where can their chances be? And I, for myself, I can learn from people. We experience it with a porcelain. We experience it with a printer in Como who is working for many other companies, and we are cooperating with. And he can show me things maybe he wouldn't show me without learning with the others. And this is the dimension of cooperation I like, or we like, and there can be a value. I think the principle we like about cooperation and cooperating and maybe doing capsule collections and stuff is bringing competences together, talents together. Like when I saw your website, we looked at it yesterday. We were totally flashed and overwhelmed. So I would probably we can do something together.
That's why the two of you are here in a way.
More this kind of let's bring experts to experts.
Exactly.
I remember this cooperation, one of the first, as you mentioned, Melissa, Karl Lagerfeld and H&M, when Jill Zander did the sports, the sneaker for Puma. I think that was a great thing. She wouldn't have done such a great shoe just on her own because she's not the expert. But she's an expert on minimal design and this was in the 80s. So I'm just bringing an idea from the past. And I think when those dimensions come together, when you can learn from each other, there can be as you mentioned, the online platforms for bringing people together, there can be a dating or there can be a marriage after a certain time. And in the ideal dimension, it should be kind of a longer partnership than that probably could happen out of that. This is what I like about it, potentially.
And
I like the same.
Good.
Yeah, I think so too. This
Let's meet and do something
No,
together.
I like the same. I just think that the future, honestly, for me, the future is to learn from how fashion used to work in the past. And I think there was something right that we somehow forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
And we step into this machine of products.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling today there is more designers than customers.
Yeah.
And for me, how we bring the customer back to some kind of a balance, when they buy the piece, they want to return and buy another one, and not moving on to another place, but just coming back, because this is a big challenge for the future. Because how exactly, what I'm afraid of, because me, I'm more into the art place than the fashion place, because I think art have much more value.
Yeah.
So I'm always trying to take the fashion that I'm doing and more pushing it to the art place than to the fashion business, because I think it's a much more valuable, and it's much more interesting because it's much more free in the end. You don't have to ask too much. You know, you don't have to make many pieces. You don't have to sell it in a big quantity. And I think that will be also more valuable for many, for designer to understand that, you know, you can be small and valuable than big and very risky.
And actually,
if I make sense.
What I also wanted to add, Artsi, we talked about it. You mentioned basically with like when you collaborate, the two of you, you're bringing in like we can't fly so much anymore, and so how do you travel when in your collaboration should bring the traveling in the space of each other's space, you know? And this was basically the idea of bringing the high brands like yourself to work together.
Super.
Or even to get to know each other, because my point was we often get people talking to each other or talking about a subject that have absolutely nothing in common, at least a similar vibe. You guys are not the same, but you have a similar vibe, you have similar values, and whether something happens, it's a way for ideas to sort of bounce off. So that was why we choreographed it this way. Artsi, though, you have to tell the story of your collaboration with Dover Street Market, because it's such a great story about how that came about.
It was by accident in the end, but it was a beautiful accident, because I went to Japan to see my family. And I was in Dover Street Market in the 5th floor. Of course, I love Dover Street Market, and I love the concept and what it's present. And of course, the one who created, because I think Comme des Garçons is a fantastic creator, and I think she's timeless, and I think it says everything about, because this is my biggest respect of creators, if they know how to pass the time when they're doing these things. And I was wearing one of my pieces, and one of the buyers saw it, and he asked me from where you get it, and I told him that I'm doing it. And then he said, I would like to speak with you. And then we start to talk, and he said, do you have any more pieces? I said, yes, but I can bring them tomorrow. And I brought them the day after, and they liked it very much. And then immediately they took me down to the 4th floor, and they showed me the space from Craig Green at that moment. And he said, when Craig finish, you will step in. And they gave me 6 months to create a collection. And they only gave me 2 words to create it. And that's, I think, one of my biggest, I was a bit overwhelmed because I never worked in that kind of method. They told me you have 2 words to create a collection, and it's white and volume. And it was completely out of my comfort zone, because I'm not white and I'm not volume. I'm super colorful, I'm super many things. But I'm not that. I was not that. It took me a long time to understand how to implement my DNA into this collection. And then eventually I found, while I was flying back to Marrakesh, I said, okay, I will do the Sleepwalkers, because it's about ensemble. When this is white and volume because it's inside of a dream. And I managed to do that. I present the collection after 6 months. They bought the whole collection. And this is something I respect a lot in Dover Street. They buy the thing and then they support the designer. They bought the collection and I think they sold it after a few days, the whole thing. It was a wonderful collaboration. So I was very overwhelmed.
Yeah, no, this is a fairy tale.
That's really a fairy tale.
This is a fairy tale collaboration.
And Ray came to see the collection the day I presented in the morning. She didn't allow that. She doesn't want that people see her. She came at 9 o'clock before everybody was there. And she told to the buyer that it's remind her the beginning of her. And that's what makes it so special. So I was very overwhelmed, it was a fun, but it also was a very nice process to see how you work with people because they understand your creativity in one hand, but they also challenge it.
No, Jörg had mentioned that you've been doing lots of collaborations. What don't I know about?
I was reflecting this whole issue this morning when I thought about this. I mean, first of all, I think the good thing is that now we know you, Artsi, and we know what you do. And I was talking to Otto. Whenever you want to do something in Germany, you're welcome in our stores in Berlin or Munich. So just to say that.
Thank you so very much.
You can call us tomorrow, and we do something together for next gallery weekend, whatever. We love what you do. I just wanted to place this message.
Thank you so much. It means a lot.
In the middle. I mean,
this is brilliant.
And they have great stores, Artsi. They have lovely stores. You'll
especially
like
in Berlin, it would fit fantastic. So, but that's on a side comment. I was thinking this morning, Melissa. I mean, our whole work is cooperation. I mean, when we drive to Como and when we go to our main printers and weavers, in the end of the day, we are doing Odeeh now for 10 years. And when I look at it, we are very constantly working with two of these weavers, and we are working with them because the dialogue works. When we say when we start a sentence, they somehow know how to finish the sentence on a creative dimension. And this is what I mean about cooperating. This can be one possibility, like having somebody, when I say we want to play in a certain mood, which is not a postcard from whatever, but more in an abstract, unexpected dimension, they know what they can do for us. And this is the one possibility. The possibility with Maison was bringing experts bringing surprise bringing competences and surprising aspects to each other. So we are not experts in terms of porcelain, but we have a certain specific view on how luxury should look today. And when we talk about bringing experts to experts, we have a cooperation in the moment with a sustainable sunglasses company in Austria or Berlin. They half Berlin, half Austria. There we bring the knowledge we have in the fashion. We bring to them as knowledge keepers in terms of sunglasses and accessories. So it's different types of cooperation, but in the whole day, in the end of the day, everything is about dialogue. I mean, Otto and myself, we are in a constant dialogue and struggle and fight and harmony and everything. So sometimes we come to solutions or to cooperations for ourselves with a fight, and sometimes it's on a very peaceful and common understanding. And so, I mean, of course, this whole world and dimension of corporations, co-ops, as Artsi said, it's kind of overused and misused at some points, but in the end of the day, it opens up for a lot of possibilities, I think.
What happened here between you guys is something I have been thinking that there could be other options than the strict collaborations of designer X brand. Or opposite that, and I was thinking of hosting, and that's more or less
Yeah.
The idea of hosting either online or hosting in your stores, giving somebody who you feel, who you appreciate or who interests you, an opportunity to speak to your customers, where it's not really a specific competition. It's more an enrichment. And I see that many other designers are doing this as well. I find it rather healthy, and it's another level of cooperation. But still, I mean, do you have any? I'm just interested. For me, a collaboration either has to give a brand more credibility, more fashion credibility, or more fashion competence, and sometimes they work. Do you have any favorite ones? I mean, there are two that I think I don't really follow them that often, and most of them don't interest me at all because they are very commercial. You know, they're not too exciting. But when I think of Birkenstock, that was one where they fought it for so many years and they finally did it. And that one actually worked. It's still working because basically Birkenstock then got credibility, it got confidence, it expanded the people, their audience without weakening their core audience, and it gave the designers the Birkenstocks they wanted that they couldn't get. And actually, I think it set the stage for LVMH's little company to jump in and snap them up. So, which I think they wanted to happen. But it's interesting that actually worked. And then with Moncler, I mean, I am not a puffer fan, and I'm not a particularly Moncler fan, but genius was it completely broke out a really sort of boring, in a way, boring item and said, hey, let's see what we can do with it. That was very, very brave. But do you have any favorite ones? I mean, there have been lots of them in the art world. There have been lots of them in the fashion world, for sure.
I want to ask if you have like leftover or stock of clothes that you didn't sell or did not sold.
Yes, yeah, we can send you.
Okay, so I think the best collaboration have to come with a value. And what I'm thinking, and this I don't see from none of the brands, is that the minute the trend is over, they let it go and they're moving on. What I think will be very interesting is to take old collection and to remake them in a new way and actually bring value to the clothes that nobody used again in a new way and do completely a different way of putting it together. First of all, you don't spend any money because it's already existing.
Yeah.
Then it's completely sustainable because you give value to something that people doesn't see the value in it. And I think if we can do that and do a whole new collection from something that already exists, bring it in a new photography feeling, in a new artistic feeling, and do an installation in a way that it's very valuable and completely fresh, I think that will be a valuable thing and also very interesting as a future collaboration between brands. Because like if, for example, I will have to do today, I have to take a new brand and be a creative director, I will not use one fabric new. I will go back to the archives or to the old collection. I will take it completely and I will break them and do all over again, just to see in the end of the day we can make from it something interesting.
Okay, I'm just super excited, Melissa, that this is what we have been brainstorming to bring this up and something come out of this conversation today, and that Artsi, who I highly respect and adore your work, and also Odeeh, that you're gonna so we have catalyzed something is coming out of it, and this is brilliant, and I'm just happy to.
So maybe I have a new. I see I have a new job.
It's like Parship, Melissa.
Yeah,
Parship. Fashion Parship.
Yeah. So we create that.
Oh my! I think we do have to end. For all of you who've listened in. I'm thank you very much for joining this Fashion FCG Voices talk. For those who are interested a bit more in learning about Africa's fashion potential, there's an upcoming FCG conference on July 6th on the new European Bauhaus oder auf Deutsch Werkstatt der Zukunft 2021. And one panel will be really focusing on the African viewpoint. Waridi will also be there. And also there will be a webinar coming up in late summer. Exact title, exact focus with Waridi is not yet determined, but keep your eyes open. FCG will let you know about it. So everybody, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Yeah. Stay well.
We should meet in Berlin soon. Okay.
Yeah, really. That would be wonderful. All of us. That would be grand.
Let's go to Marrakesh.
Or go to Marrakesh.
Yeah.
Marrakesh.
I need my second shot, people. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.